Texas chili, or a bowl of red as they call it down there. We already browned up and drained 2 pounds of ground chuck. Then we chucked in about 7 strips of bacon, where it's generated quite a bit of bacon grease. And in here now we're going to dump in celery, red and green bell peppers, and sweet white onions. And we're going to soften this stuff up with this bacon and this bacon grease. 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I took 1 can and I put it in the blender and I blended it smooth. Then I took another can and just poured it in this cup here. There's the diced tomatoes, and I left the juice in there because we're going to need some. I love these little Roma tomatoes because they cut up so nice without producing juice. And I'm going to dump about half of them in there right now with the peppers to kind of soften them a little bit. 1 entire jalapeno pepper diced up. We just put the whole jalapeno in there, minus the seeds and the end caps. We're going to dump in our 2 pounds of ground beef back in there because those veggies are just looking terrific. And we're going to add our blended diced tomatoes in there, that whole can. And then we're going to put in our regular diced tomatoes, and I'm going to put about half of these in to start with, and I may change the recipe. And then I'm going to add some more of these tomatoes that we diced up fresh. A little over half a cup of beef broth. Minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of that. About a half a tablespoon of brown sugar. 2 tablespoons of chili powder. A tablespoon of paprika. Half a teaspoon of cumin. A teaspoon of red pepper flakes. But I'm going to put about 1/4 cup just regular brewed coffee. Coffee separates the flavors in your mouth. We're going to put this on medium heat, cook this for about a half hour, and a teaspoon of salt. And you do that to taste. And drain our diced tomatoes over here, and I'm going to plunk them in as well. We are looking absolutely terrific. Now let me show you what they do down in Texas when they plate this up. They take a corn tortilla and lay in the bottom of the bowl. Then they put the chili on top of that tortilla. I'm going to put a few of these little spicy corn chips around the outside edge of this chili. Medium shredded cheddar, shredded pepper jack on top of there. We put some sour cream and some chives on top. And man, this bowl of red looks fantastic.
I love skillet recipes.
If you like chili and Fritos, you're going to love this.
We are browning up 1 pound of lean ground beef, 1 medium diced sweet onion, 1 tablespoon of taco seasoning, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, ½ teaspoon red pepper flakes,
1½ tablespoons of chili powder.
1 tablespoon of minced garlic.
And we're going to let that cook for just a minute or 2.
1 can of Rotel diced tomatoes and green chilies.
Undrained. And then we're going to use a 6-ounce can of tomato paste, but you could also use tomato sauce.
And some diced green chilies.
And I'm going to put about half of these in. And then we've got 2 tablespoons of masa that we're mixing 1-to-1 with water. And we're going to mix that up and add that in.
And let it cook for 2 to 3 minutes. Then we are adding 1 can of red kidney beans.
And these are already rinsed.
No chili recipe is complete without the cheese.
Got some cheddar jack.
Then the main star of the show is Fritos.
We'll just add a light layer of Fritos across the top. Some people just put the Fritos on a plate and then put the chili mixture over it. But we're going to do everything in the 1 skillet.
Gently mix it in around the edges.
And then we're going to add some shredded cheddar cheese. And you can see we're just layering this like a pie.
And a few more Fritos, some more cheese.
We're going to place this into the broiler and let it melt for 1 to 2 minutes.
So delicious. It don't take long, does it?
No, it's a very quick recipe. You could do this anytime.
And you can add toppings like onion, tomatoes, green chilies.
And there you have a Frito pie chili skillet.
Anytime is a good time for hot dogs, bratwurst, but you're going to need some chili if you want chili dogs. Now I got a pound of burger in here, 80-20. I've browned it and drained all the grease off of it. So I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup of sweet onions, sauteed down a little bit. All right, our burger's browned up good. Our onions are sweating, looking good. In this little bowl right here, I have a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a tablespoon of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of oregano, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. Make sure that's not the salts, that's the powders. A half a teaspoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, and I'm going to put some tomato paste and brown sugar in here in just a second, along with some tomatoes and chilies. But let's get those ingredients in there, get our spices happening. And just to kind of moisten this mixture a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and put in my diced tomatoes and chilies. You can use Rotels, or you can just use store-bought stuff like Kroger brand like I do. I drained most of it, but I'm going to go ahead and dump what little bit of juice there was in there, because it looks like we kind of need it. I'm going to put in about a half of this can of tomato paste. It's a little teeny can too. By the way, the chilies and tomatoes were only 10-ounce can. I just wanted you to know that. And this here is that's a 6-ounce can. I got about half of that in there. Then I'm also going to give this a shot of Worcestershire sauce, about a half a teaspoon. I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar in there. Now it's time for our magic ingredient. Got a little bottle of beer here. I'll tell you, Sheila does not drink beer at all. She loves it in some of the recipes we put it in, but she does not drink beer. And how do I know that? She grabbed me this bottle of beer and she says, "You got anything to open it with?" I said, "Honey, it's a twist off top. What century do you live in?" She said, "I don't drink beer." So, and what we're going to do here is we want to get some fluid. Oh, that smells so good. We want to put enough fluid in here. Let's see, probably about a half a bottle of beer, because we want to simmer this for about an hour on real low heat. And then we're going to have us a wonderful beer hot dog chili. I'd say 30 to 45 minutes. We'll check on it. This has been simmering only for about a half hour, and it already tastes so delicious that we're going to go ahead and plate this up. Let me get one of these little brats over here. Put it in here. Now you can do whatever you want. If you want to do a little bit of mustard, oh Lord, would you looky what we have here with the tomatoes and the peppers and stuff that are in there. Now you could top this with a little cheese, sprinkle a little cheese on top or whatever, but this chili for your hot dogs and bratwurst is terrific.
So today we're going to do a white chicken chili.
That sounds real good.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
So, you know, a lot of people will go to the grocery store and pick up a rotisserie chicken, and you never know what to do with all the leftovers. You know, you can make a soup. Well, this is the perfect recipe to do leftovers with your rotisserie chicken. So we've got 2 cups of shredded chicken in here. All right, so she's going to add this chicken in. We've got 2 cups of shredded chicken that we've already shredded up. You're going to want to use 2.5 cups of the chicken broth. May want to add a little bit more. Just depends on if it starts thickening too much and you want a little bit more liquid in there. You just got to kind of keep an eye on it.
2 cans of Great Northern beans.
And I've already got these open.
All right.
So I'll dump those in. And make sure these are already drained. We also have a 3rd can that we have already mashed up. This will help thicken your chili a little bit more. So I'm going to put that in there. And that will help thicken the sauce.
Now we're going to use a Rotel and green chilies.
Okay.
A can of that.
This is mild, or the one with cilantro in it. You could do that. So that would help spice things up. And we also have a can of green chilies chopped. And we're just going to dump that in there. So we're going to add a can of corn, drained already. So now I've got some onions chopped up here and some minced garlic, and I've got about a cup of that and about a tablespoon of minced garlic. And what I want to do is I'm going to saute this up first so that they don't have to cook as long. So we're just going to stick this in a little skillet, or you could put it in the microwave, and we're just going to, you know, make sure that those onions get semi-partially cooked before we put it in the crock pot. I've got a teaspoon of red pepper. I've got a tablespoon and a half of chili powder. I've got some salt and pepper, and so I'm just going to mix that up, and we're going to put that in there. And now if you want a little hotter, you can maybe adjust some of those, and maybe you could just do that to taste, pretty much seasoning to taste. So we're just going to put that in there, mix that all up. I've also got some sour cream that I'm going to put in. Now we're going to garnish this with sour cream at the end, but we're also going to put some in there because it's white chicken chili. So we're going to put some of that in there.
You can put the crock pot on 6 hours on low.
Or if you want to cook it faster, 3 to 4 hours on high. So
We added a cup of Monterey Jack cheese to this.
about 20 minutes before we're ready to serve it. Doesn't that look great?
Yes.
Yummy. And she's like, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat this.
A little bit more.
Me too, please.
Okay.
And so now you can garnish this with a little bit more Monterey Jack cheese. We're going to top it with a little bit of sour cream and cilantro. I've got crunchy fried onions, and she's got tortilla chips. Now you could use whatever you like. I like the fried crunchy onions, so I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of those on top. A little bit of sour cream. I've got my little squirt bottle here. I'm just gonna. I like the little squirt because you can make them really cute. I've already got some fresh cilantro, and that'll make it spicy. You get a bite of that and pretty. We're making a low-carb chili cheese dog casserole. We've got some tomato sauce and tomato paste.
We've got it all mixed together.
And we've got Sheila's favorite word to say, 2 tablespoons of the W sauce.
Yes.
And so we're going to pour that right into the tomato sauce and tomato paste. So in this skillet, I am browning up 2 pounds of lean ground beef. And I've got a cup of onion. I'm going to add in my seasoning, which is 2 teaspoons of chili powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, ground cumin, and some salt. We're going to set it aside, and we are going to brown up our hot dogs in this same pan. We're going to take this hot dog, and we're just going to pour it in this dish. And I'm flinging hot dogs, Sheila.
Well, I'm not going to eat the one off the floor.
Now, in his directions, he usually leaves his whole, but we already chopped ours up, and we're just going to brown these up a little bit before we put them into the baking dish.
Now that we got our hamburger meat and our hot dogs in our 9x13 pan.
And they're all browned up.
Yes.
And the onions are in there. We've already seasoned it. We're going to add in our tomato paste and tomato sauce mixture. So we're going to mix all that together in with the meat. So this is like a beanless type chili with just meat and hot dogs. It looks yummy. Okay, so once you have all of that mixed together, he had a cup of sharp cheddar cheese or cheddar cheese, whichever you prefer. I like to cook with sharp cheddar cheese because it adds a lot more flavor. And we use a little bit more of cheese because we like cheese. So we're going to add maybe a couple cups of this. So we're going to just layer that on the top. Now we've got our oven preheated to 400 degrees. So we're going to bake this in there for about 20 minutes, and we'll be back.
We just got this out of the oven, and it smells delicious.
It does. And it was in there for 20 minutes. Very simple, very fast, and I can't wait to dig into this. What do you think?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. If you want to put sour cream on this, or
that would be good.
if your family isn't doing the low carb thing, you can always put this over some bread, as Steve would say.
If this is not the best,
low carb chili cheese dog casserole. If it ain't, it ought to be. We'll see you next time right here on Cooking with Shotgun Red. Bye.
Well, that's Shishi and Jen, them 2 girls having too much fun. We hope you enjoy this recipe, and we really hope you subscribe to our channel. That's easy. Little Shotgun Red's face will pop up over here in a little bit. When you click on it, it'll say subscribe, then you're subscribed. Next to it will be a little notification bell. If you click that little bell, then YouTube will send you every single one of our recipes or a notification that we posted one as soon as it comes out. See you next time right here on Cooking with Shotgun Red. Is this the best? If it ain't, it ought to be.